What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to transfer this image onto canvas. Let's do it. Hey everyone, I'm going to show you two different ways that I usually use to transfer a reference to a canvas to prepare it for painting. This is the first way. I take our reference photo, flip it over, and I grab a graphite stick, usually of medium hardness, and I begin to coat the back. Our goal here is to make sure that we get enough coverage on the back of this image so that everything that we want to show up does when we begin to transfer the actual image. If we don't get it dark enough, we'll miss out on the little details. We'll end up having to draw them in manually. Not the worst thing, but it's easier if we get it right the first time. Once I have decent coverage on my first layer, I will turn the image at a 45-degree angle and begin a second layer. By turning the image and doing multiple layers, you will get coverage in the valleys that you may have missed over the first and/or second layers. You'll see I'll do this one more time, moving the image vertically and doing a third final layer. I'll fast forward so you can get to the end. Once we have the back of the image covered, it's time to attach the image to the canvas. I'll line the image up with the canvas, flip it over, and then add some drafting dots to secure it to the canvas. From here, we begin to transfer the image. You can use a pen, a pencil, or really whatever you would like. All we're doing here is leaving an imprint on the image, making sure we get all the detail that we want. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm not adding that much detail so that we can move it along a little bit. I will fast forward here so you can see the rest of the process. Once our transfer is complete, it's time to remove the image. We simply flip the canvas over, remove our drafting dots, and then we're presented with our transfer. Here's a close-up of our final image transfer, as well as a comparison with the original photograph. As I mentioned earlier, I did not go crazy with the detail here, but you can certainly do way more, and we'll talk about that a little later. The second method we're going to cover in this video is using a transfer paper, very similar to carbon paper. You can see this paper has two different sides, a dark side and a lighter side. You want to make sure that the dark side is always down on the canvas and the lighter side is directly underneath the image you're trying to transfer. We simply place the canvas down onto the dark side, once again adhering the transfer paper with drafting dots, flip the image over, add our image on top, turn it over once again, add the drafting dots, and then we're ready to transfer. From here, we simply transfer the image as we did before, using a pen, pencil, or whatever we'd like. I will fast forward once again. Once we're done with our transfer, we simply flip over the image, remove those drafting dots, and then we're presented with our image. One quick note on the transfer paper. It is not a one-time use paper. I've used that same piece that you see in the video probably 20 times over, so it'll last you quite a while. Here's a close-up of our final image completed with the transfer paper. I wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison of both image transfers. On the left we have the graphite, and on the right we have the image we used with the transfer paper. You can see the transfer paper usually comes out a bit darker, so it really becomes a matter of personal preference. Now that we have our transfer done, I want to talk a little bit more about adding additional detail. On the left you have the graphite image, in the middle the transfer paper, and on the right is a third image that I transferred, once again using the graphite back method. The method of transfer that you choose is really a matter of personal preference. However, there are some considerations that should be taken into account based upon your painting style. For example, transferring an image using the transfer paper comes out so much darker that it will take more layers of paint to cover. If you're someone that paints thick right out of the tube, then that's really not an issue. If you're someone that paints a little thinner but doesn't build up that much, that could eventually be a problem, as that image transfer will probably show through on your final painting. If you're someone who builds up your paintings in many thin layers, eventually getting more opaque as the painting goes on, you really won't have an issue. That's how I paint, and I'm fine with either method. However, I will say that my preferred method is the graphite transfer method. The reason for that is using the graphite method, I can really control the pressure transferring that image. For instance, if you look in the cavity of the eye or the nose, I can really get in there and get dark and then have the gradient fade away into a lighter as we get more into the light source. For me, this is very important when transferring an image for a painting because it really helps you map out an accurate image. Here's a close-up of the detailed transfer that I did off camera. You can see I've added quite a bit more detail, and very honestly, sometimes I go even farther than this. Again, it's really a matter of personal preference. One final tip I'd like to share here is in regards to printing your reference photos. You can see I have a series of 3 photos printed, a very light, a middle, and a very deep dark photo. What you get by printing the series of photos is you really get to see the high highs as well as very deep darks in those N2 photographs. You really might not see this in the middle photo if that's the only one you print. This is a trick that has been very helpful to me in both my image transferring as well as my final paintings. This is a trick I learned from fellow artist Daniel Horn. If you don't know Daniel's work, please go check him out, danielhornstudios.com. He's an incredible painter and sculptor, and all-around nice guy if you've ever had the opportunity to meet him. Daniel released a DVD titled Painting Dracula, a painting tutorial that he has available on his website. This is a DVD that has been incredible, so many great tips including this one and many others. He takes a painting from start to finish, taking you along the whole way. If you are a painter, you should definitely go check it out. As always, I appreciate you guys checking out this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so as well and tap that like button. See you guys next time.